That time again, tidying up, getting ready to take off. But first, we have to make sure we don't have a critical system issue, so stay tuned. Once a month, I like to check my flooded lead-acid batteries and make sure that the water level is good. Just some preventative maintenance to make sure that I'm taking care of them as well as I can and following the manufacturer guidelines. So let me show you what I've got going on. So here in the front of my fifth wheel, I've got the normal compartment where you put your batteries and that sort of thing, all my electrical stuff. Today what we're going to do is check the batteries. Like I said, in here I've got 4 Trojan T105 deep cycle golf cart batteries. You can see I've got it vented to the outside to keep the fumes from coming into the coach, and I had to do this as well to allow these to live in the same space with the Xantrex because of explosion risks. But we've got this all sealed up. I've got a gasket around the underneath side of this lid, so yeah, all the fumes can go out through the vent. Let me get this lid off, and I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to use our bowl battery filler to put water in if we need to. Got some distilled water here, and then battery hydrometer to check the state of the batteries. So let me get this off, and we'll go from there. Got our 4 Trojan T105 deep cycle batteries, and what we're going to do is we're going to check each one of these cells and make sure. We're going to check 2 things. First, we're going to check the status of the battery using a hydrometer, and let's see here, in case you haven't seen one of these before, this is the hydrometer, and I'll put a link down below in the description for this, so you can pick one up if you need one. But basically, what this does is you draw up the fluid out of the battery, out of the cell, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but these little indicators, you have red, blue, and green, and you want to be in the green, but it tells you, what the status is of the acid in the battery. If you go on your manufacturer's website, I know I went to Trojan, and they have a specific number this is supposed to be. I can't remember what it is, but it's a certain level of gravity. But we're just going to check this, make sure it's in the green, and if it's not in the green, then we may have to do some equalization. It's been a long time since I equalized these batteries, but every month when I check them, they're good. So we'll check them now and see how good they really are. So. Then second, before I move on, we're going to use this little bulb to add water if we need to. So we can get some water out of our distilled water jug, and we can add it here if as needed. But we'll look at that in a second. Let's talk a little bit about safety. Safety goggles, gloves. These are lead-acid batteries. As the name implies, they have acid, lead plates, acid water. You have to be very careful not to splash this stuff around. If you do splash some or get it on your skin, baking soda and water is a good way to neutralize the acid. But I try to be very careful, go one cell at a time. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second, but you just want to make sure that you don't get this liquid out of these batteries on anything, especially your eyes and your hands and your skin. You should be okay. If you feel safer, wear long sleeves. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to start right here on this far battery. And we're going to open this cap with my flashlight down. We're going to open it very carefully, make sure we don't splash or anything. And I'm going to take this flashlight and I'm going to look and see how far below the lip that this is. Alright, so hopefully you can see this. It's kind of hard to tell really how low it is, but you can see that it's above the plates, which is important. That's number 1. But it's below the little lip there where it says fill. I don't know if you can read that or not right there. So this one, I'll add a little bit to it. Manufacturer recommends it be 1/8 of an inch below that little lip. So I'll add some water to this one. It looks like it's getting a little low, which is normal, through evaporation. And when these get hot when they're charging, we have some evaporate, and that's the need for for the vents. Okay, I'm going to use the handy dandy hydrometer here. See if I can get it in focus. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pull fluid out of this cell. I like to keep a paper towel handy. And I'm going to do this a couple of times, trying to get to this line on the top. Right here, there's a little line on the plastic that I know you can't see, but so I'm going to just squeeze this and get some fluid. Works kind of like a turkey baster. We'll see if we can get this thing full. So there we go, pretty close. So you can see, actually let me do that again. All right, so you can see, maybe not with this arrow, that I'm in the green. I'm in the green right here. So this cell is fine. It's not in the high green, but it's right about here. So it says good, so we're good. So we're going to put the fluid back in, kind of like that. Handy dandy paper towel, and set that aside. And then I'm going to close this up just to keep it any debris from falling in there and keep it clean. And I'm going to move on and I'm going to check the rest of these. So let me do that real quick, and then we'll come back and take a look. Now this battery is a little unique because, let me get out of the, see if I can get some light. This is an older style Trojan, and when I bought these, I bought them all at the same time. But the supplier had 3 with caps like this, and 1 with this cap that covers all 3. So you just have to be very careful and make sure you don't get any debris down in there when you're checking these. But the check is the same. Okay, all the batteries checked good, so we're going to put the hydrometer back in its little pouch and put it away. And second thing, I did want to mention that I did look at the water in all of these. There's a couple of them that could use a little top off. So let's do a top off on this one real quick first, and then I'll run through and top off the rest of them. So I'm going to open this one up, find my trusty flashlight here. You can barely see that water. This is going to be difficult. I'm going to try and point to it real quick. Let me see if I can hold both of these. So that water is actually pretty close to 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to put a little bit in it just to show you guys. So let me grab the water. Alright, so basically I've drawn some water up in this bulb. I know this is dark, but there you go. I've drawn some water up in this bulb, and we're going to add it to this battery. Okay, that gets me a little closer. Maybe with this glare on the water you can kind of see. I'm within 1/8 of an inch of that tab. I've actually pulled them up to touch that tab before and they've been fine. But like I said, manufacturer recommends 1/8 of an inch. Your battery manufacturer may be different, but that's what Trojan recommends. So that's what I try to keep them at. So let me check the rest of these, add water as needed, and we'll be right back. All right, that pretty much completes that. I'm going to get another paper towel and kind of dry this up a little bit. I did spill a little bit of water. It's not really going to hurt anything because it's just water, but I like to make this clean and tidy. The other thing I wanted to mention, when you're in here checking this stuff, or anytime you're checking your batteries, I do this once a month, but every now and then I'll pop this open in between those times. And I like to check and make sure these terminals are clean. These batteries have been in here almost 2 years. This November will be 2 years. And you can see how clean they are. I haven't cleaned them. I did put a little electrolyte, I can't remember what it's called. It's a little electrolyte stuff you put on them when you first attach them. But I haven't had any issues. Part of that, I think, is because this is sealed up. But, you know, just keep an eye on it. Make sure they're clean. If you have any leaking around here, that could mean you have a bad battery. Any leaking around here could mean that you overfilled them, and as they charge, they're forcing some water out. So that's why you want to make sure you keep the fluid level down below that line. So let me get this cleaned. All right, everything checked good, got them cleaned up. So I'm going to go ahead and put the seal back on, make sure this gasket is properly installed. I always like to double check this. And we're going to put the lid back on. There we go. Get her all buckled back down. This is one way to keep my batteries from moving. There we go. All right. We'll tighten that strap up and we'll be good. All right, we're all boxed back up, ready to go. The battery's checked good. I did add a tiny bit of water, but I did want to stop for just 1 second and chat about a couple terms that I used. One, equalization. Basically, the procedure is to overcharge them to cause them all to come to equalization. My battery charger has an equalization function, so it's not something I need to do to each individual battery. I can just go select equalize, and the battery charger knows how to do that. Make sure that you do some research, go online, check, and figure out how you do that with your specific battery charger, solar controller, that sort of thing, because you want to make sure that these things are performing at their best. The second is water. You want to make sure you use distilled water. I get my distilled water from the supermarket. And this water's been distilled to remove impurities and all that sort of stuff, so you don't want to put impurities into your battery that's going to settle on the plates and cause issues with the battery. So always use distilled. If your manufacturer recommends something different, then do that, but in my experience, distilled is what you should use on your batteries. All right, that'll do it for this video. We're all boxed back up, ready to go. The batteries are good, everything checked good. Added a little bit of water, as you saw. Remember, always check your batteries. I check mine at least once every 30 days. Go on your manufacturer website, follow their instruction for the type of batteries you have. I have the Trojan T105s. Other manufacturer recommendations could be different, but remember, it's important to take care of these. Batteries aren't cheap. Got to get as much life out of them as you can. The first year I had mine, I didn't discharge them below 80%. That was a manufacturer recommendation. This year, year number 2, I'm going to 70-75%. So far, my batteries have been great, and they always check good. I've got to maybe do an equalization here in the future coming up, but right now they're great. So thanks again. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. Hopefully it was helpful, and don't forget to subscribe. We'd love to have you in the Jones of the Travel family. Check out our blog at jonesofthetravel.com. Thanks, we appreciate your support. Bye.